What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, D&Do Commentary. We got potential for an interesting game here. Alright, so we got Nosebleed at the top, 1475, versus Cholo de Kaiser. To backtrack a little bit, first off, I saw star drawing, and I was like, okay, this duel automatically is legit. I mean, the second anybody plays star drawing, your fucking duel becomes legit. If you don't believe me, watch TR Trainer play. Anyways, Kaiser, well, his Necro Valley just got blown up. Whoa, Mass Chameleon. Okay, this duel is going from legit to hype because we're talking about star-eating Mass Chameleon artifacts. So yeah, I thought that this duel might have some potential. Anyways, he looks like he resolved the card D, but then Nosebleed went Star Eater. I keep calling it that. He went Star Drawing plus Kage de Kage, and then he made King of the Pharaoh Imps. I'm not sure what it got the first time. Maybe it got another Kage de Kage. He has Mass Chameleon in hand, and it looks like Gravekeeper's Recruiter just died from the King of the Pharaoh Imps attack. He tried to deprison, but no dice as he just wiretaps it. And I believe that guy can only attack once, so he'll probably attack with Murotech. Oh wait, I guess Murotech is the one that attacked face down. That's my mistake. And then you see that Nosebleed sets one. Now Nosebleed must have took some shots to the face because he wasn't at full strength. Never mind. He gets bottomless. Like he was at like 5300 or something like that. So something must have happened. He gets a Dark Hold. That's a really good rip because he clears his opponent's board and he gets the bottomless. But he still has way less cards than Nosebleed does. Now, this should be a card, Necro Valley, that should disrupt with what Hat wants to do a little bit. Obviously he can't use Mass Chameleon. And I don't know, they run like, Hat, well, Artifact-based decks traditionally will run Call of the Haunted. That's another card that gets disrupted. You see he special summons Photon Thrasher and just tries to attack with it. I think he has 0 defense, doesn't he? Sure enough. And that gets hit with a deprison. And you just wonder if Kaiser can get a decent monster. He might be able to pull this thing out. Because you have to remember, Nosebleed can't use his Chameleon. I mean, I think Chameleon has, what, 1600 attack? Something like that? I mean, he could just summon it and just attack, but he can't use the effect. I guess that's what I'm saying. Now, Kaiser has no back row, so, I mean, pretty much anything Nosebleed wants to do, there's no opposition stopping it. So he can just kind of do whatever he wants. I wonder what these are. I wonder if these are artifacts. Okay, so down comes Commanded with his 2100 attack glory. And, ooh, Robbery of Warlords, my favorite card. So that gets banished, and it's a 1/1 now, but it will become a +1. Damn, Nosebleed, I love you. I love these cards you're playing. You running Mass Chameleon, motherfucking Star Drawing. Like, this deck is fucking legit. He runs Pot of Dichotomy, which he tries to activate it, which you can't because Necro Valley. It's trying to move cards in the graveyard, which you cannot do under Necro Valley. So, it's not that it's negated. You can't even activate it. It's like Pot Duality with Ryo, if I'm not mistaken. Or trying to activate. I'm trying to think of another example. I guess that's the best one that came to my mind. Rhoda versus like Rhoda versus Necro Valley or whatever. I mean Rhoda versus like Ryo. All right, so he gets Commandant and Recruiter off of the Gravekeeper's Steel. He summons Commandant. Man, my pronunciations have just been awful. And Nosebleed fires back with Artifact Sanctum. Down comes Murotech. And he's going to pop himself some Necro Valley. Which means, I mean, he can save the trouble of popping Command. Damn! He has another one. That's crazy, right? That's the third one, right? Yeah, because he's already popped 2. Now, he goes to end phase, in which Nosebleed does get himself a Commandant. So, I mean, I would have popped the Necro Valley too. Although, technically, if you would have popped Commandant, you could have just gamed. Although, you might have had game anyway. And I think he really wants to be able to use his Mass Chameleon. He wants to not just have a whole bunch of dead cards in him. But if Nosebleed is running the hand monsters, obviously they're right now they're both live, Ice Hand or Fire Hand. What is this? This is a Goblin Burr. Goblin Burr. I don't even know what this thing does. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon one from your hand and then change it to defense. Okay. I think I've looked this card up before. So he uses that to special summon Mask Chameleon. And Kaiser used the evac on his own commandant, which is actually good for him. I mean, technically it was a +1 for Nosebleed to begin with, but, you know, it becomes like, I guess, a +1 for him. So anyways, Kaiser admitted defeat. Cool, that was just game 1. So Nosebleed actually main decks all those fucking hype-ass cards like that. Goblin Plane and Mask Chameleon and motherfucking Star Drawing. I get Star Drawing with Kage Tekage. Like that actually does make sense to me, because then you can go into a rank 4 and just draw. And it's not like Star Eating's attack or Star Eating. It's not like Star Drawing's attack is horrible. I mean, it is 1600, so it can run over a couple of things. Anyways, that looks like a match where Gravekeepers just got out controlled. I mean, for the most part, he just kept losing his Necro Valleys to Sanctum. And that's pretty much without his opponent, from what I've seen, hitting any artifact ignitions. Like, I imagine if Nosebleed isn't maining MSC, he's probably going to side in 3 of them. And obviously he'll keep his Sanctums in. He'll probably keep his artifact ignitions in too. So, to me, decks that will struggle against Hat are, first off, decks that have to play field spells. Because if you play against Hat, field spells, or anything artifact based, like, I'm sorry, field spells just aren't, they're just not going to stay face up. There's too much removal. And, I mean, it does look like his Necro Valley can at least stop this guy right here, Mask Chameleon. And it might be able to stop a couple of other cards, but just in general, I don't know. I don't think right now Necro Valley is a very strong card. Not just because of the hands and because of Hat as a deck, but I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of spell and trap removal. And there's just so much stuff that can just get around the card, you know what I mean? Okay, so we see Banisher to Radiance. That's a pretty good side card. And Necro Valley. I wonder if he's going to go for the full Monty and go Royal Tribute. Nope. Okay, so he just 2 in the back row. And you see Nosebleed activates Rhoda. He's probably going to go for Photon Thrasher. Actually run 1 Rhoda in my Boojins just to get that card in particular. Just to get Thrasher and nothing else. He's probably going to special summon that. He might summon something else and then go attack because, you know, he knows that Kaiser's playing at least 2 copies of D-Prison. I mean, he got hit with both of them. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked by a Forbidden Lance either. You know what I mean? Like, that card goes really well with Banisher Radiance. Okay, so he's going to use his normal summon on Murmillo, which is almost certainly going to get Bottomless. I can't see him getting Nightmare. That card's just ass against Gravekeepers. You'll never trigger it, basically. So he attacks with Photon Thrasher. And I expect that to get deprisoned. No. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. You're right. He controls another monster. It can't attack. I think I just would have crashed with Murmillo rather than go for the XE. Okay, so he's going to go for King of the Pharaoh Imps. He's risking it. Okay, that gets hit with Phoenix Chain. And now he starts setting up his defenses. Only 2 cards, but at least 1 Bottomless. I mean, that can essentially stop any GK your opponent wants to summon. He summons Commandant. I expect that to get Bottomless. I mean, I would. It's free. I wouldn't want my opponent making 101 or anything like that. He doesn't Bottomless it. I mean, okay. Yeah, I would have pulled the trigger on the Bottomless right there. I really would have. Although, I mean, from the beginning, even if my Murmillo, if my Thrasher couldn't have attacked, I would have attacked with Murmillo. Like, it's cool going for the XC play, but I want this Gravekeeper, I want this Banisher off board. Especially if I already know that I've got a Bottomless to counter your next monster. I'm good with that. So, Nosebleed keeps saying, but at what point is he actually going to use the Bottomless Trap Hole? I thought that Commandant was the perfect opportunity, but he must feel different. Maybe he knows something that I don't. Now here's the fun fact. If he does, I was going to say, if he activates the effect, he won't get Recruiter's effect. And he decides to throw Recruiter at the King of the Pharaoh Imps. And it looks like he's going to attack for 2,000 plus 1,600. So that's 3,600 total. And I don't know. Another thing about that letting your opponent get Descendant on board, it's like you leave them with a really big monster too. You know, that guy's 2K. Now, Phoenix Chain should be banished. I don't really think that it's going to be that relevant in the game, but I do believe that that card is banished. Like, okay, when I look at Gravekeepers in the meta, I feel like, what can they do that Geargia can't do, but like 15 times better? You know what I mean? Like, Geargia have one card exceeds in MK2. Geargia can go rank 3 exceed. This deck, like, Necro Valley can't do that. I mean, what are the chances of you having 2 recruiters on board? Like, you know, chances are like so bad. So anyways, back to the duel right quick. So he's going to go Goblin Burr. I guess it's Goblin Bird. Yeah, I guess the H is just silent. So I guess it's Goblin Burke. And then he's going to special summon Mass Chameleon with its effect. Although I guess Kaiser has a response. He's going to Book of Moon Chameleon, which will stop. That won't actually stop what he did, but whatever. And that's really bad, because now he has 2 monsters on board and neither one of them can do anything. Another recruiter comes down. I expect Kaiser to start trying to blow up back row. Well, never mind. He finally triggers that bottomless. And he's probably going to lose his entire field, which he does. And now Kaiser sets 1 more card in the back row. He has everything committed to the board. Exciton Knight would just be like the death of him. Darkhold might also be the death of him. That's a +1 right there. And it looks like Nosebleed is going to set. I feel like Spy is not nearly as good as Armor, because they kind of work the same. You flip them and you get a monster. The difference is with what's it called, with Armor, the monster is in hand. Thus, it's like it's a better position, because if you get like Darkhold, like, you don't want to commit everything to the board. You know what I mean? You have Accelerator, which you can special summon at any time anyway. That's just one of the archetype tools that the deck has, but I don't know. You can reuse Armor. You can't reuse Spy. Looks like he's going to activate Acid Trap Hole when he sets. Okay, so that's Spy. That's going to bite the dust. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Acid Trap Hole flips the monster. Oh, wait. No, it's not going to die. It does a 2,000 defense. It's actually 2,500. Wow, you know what? I've never actually thought about the... I've actually never even thought about the condition of that card. The whole 2,000. I just assumed it was like... Because I never see anything survive that shit. So, it looks like he has Cross out. Which begs the question, why would you even use the Acid Trap Hole, which I personally think is an awful card in general. Now, all of the Gravekeeper Spies die because it's a flip effect. It got crossed out, so he loses all 3 copies. That's a huge blow to Kaiser, because Gravekeeper Spy is kind of like your bread and butter card. It kind of does all the work for the deck. And it's really your 1 card Xyz Maker, and like the deck's only 1 card Xyz Maker. Okay, so I guess Nosebleed is like, alright, I got Deep Prisons too. I mean, that's another thing about Geargia. Like, you have MK2, that's a 1 card Xyz Maker. Geargia Gear is a 1 card Xyz Maker. If you flip Armor, that's technically a 1 card Xyz Maker as long as it lives, because you just get Accelerator. I guess it's just, you know, 2 decks that came out in 2 different eras. Like, if Gravekeepers came out now, they would have almost certainly had a bunch of rank 4 Xyz. And probably a couple more busted effects. So, advantage is kind of even. Kaiser plays, he plays Royal Tribute, which is technically a neg in that situation. It didn't hit anything in Nosebleed's hand. Nosebleed is sitting on a super dead Pot of Dichotomy. Not just because his opponent has Necro Valley, but he doesn't have enough monsters. And we see Star Drawing again, hypest card in Yu-Gi-Oh. It's so cute. I like that hat, by the way, with the little X on it. Is that like an Xbox hat or something? So he's just gonna attack with Star Drawing. Don't be surprised if this Star Drawing gets like fucking 6 straight attacks. Seriously. Now he doesn't attack now. I don't understand why you'd attack once and then stop attacking, unless you like you have like I don't know, you have like a 6th sense that your opponent was gonna use. Yeah, maybe you have a 6th sense that your opponent was gonna use like a what's it called? A D prison or something. Anyways, he MSCs his own Meritech instead of Necro Valley, which I guess because he knew his opponent had another Necro Valley in hand. And now he's gonna attack with Star Drawing. But why didn't he do it last turn? He could have did 1,600 more. Maybe Fearful of D Prison. That's the only thing I can think of. Down comes Recruiter, and he just tries to attack. And I would not be surprised if that attack got it in. Never mind. Robbery of Warlords, too strong. Oh, never mind. Royal Tombs. And that's a counter trap, so there's no coming back from that shit. Unless you got Wiretap. Okay, so Star Drawing gets his little ass ran over. And Nosebleed just sets one. I wonder if Nosebleed plays double Cyclone, because we haven't seen it yet. The Desperation, Fiendish Chain on a Gravekeeper's Recruiter. That is bad. It's not like a bad play, it's just it's a bad situation when you have to do that. Okay, so he's gonna activate Pot of Duality, MST, D Prison, and Commandant. That's actually kind of tough. I think I'd take MST just so I could start attacking again, because I know that if you do get over my Recruiter, I can just draw. I mean, I can get another card anyway. But I guess he feels like, hey, if I get Torrential, it doesn't matter. I get an extra card. This is a 2100 beater. Ooh, double Fiendish Chain. This is looking really bad for Nosebleed because he's stopping monsters, but he's not actually killing them. Unless he flips over fucking Full House. If he flips over Full House, I'm gonna lose it. If he flips over Full House, that'd be hype as fuck. And he's like, get rid of Necro Valley and all your back row and one of my Fiendish Chains. That'd just be crazy. But, you know, I don't know. Not a lot of people play Full House anymore. Okay, so Kaiser's he's just like, I'm just gonna keep summoning monsters until it fucking works. He leaves Recruiter in a attack position. I'm not 100% sure why. I guess he felt like if it got Mirror Force, he'd get the effect. So, okay. Nosebleed rips that Sanctum, and I imagine he's going to try and blow up this guy right here, Commandant, and he does. Unless he has like another Royal Tomb. Nope. And since he put this one in defense mode, he can just run it over because it only has 2,000 defense, right? Okay, so now he puts that Recruiter in defense mode. He's moving to battle phase. And he does get over it. So, no more D Prisons. One of the Fiendish Chains will fall off because, obviously, Commandant died. You know what? I think Kaiser might be running low on monsters. Well, never mind. Dark Hole. I mean, he should have like 1 or 2 left in the deck. I would imagine a Descendant, right? If he plays 3 Descendants, we've only seen, I think, 1. Okay, so there's the third Commandant. You know what? It doesn't matter if he's running low on monsters. He can use Gravekeeper still. It's not like we've even seen that. So he summons into Solemn Warning. These dudes are seriously low on life points. But you have to remember that Nosebleed does have a Pot of Dichotomy, which is super fucking dead. He just can't use it. And Kaiser has another Necro Valley in hand, which is super fucking dead too. He can't really use that. There's that Gravekeeper still. I imagine he's going to go for, well, I was thinking 1 Commandant, 1 Recruiter. Or double Commandant. Either way. I guess you summon Recruiter because it's a floater. In case your opponent does happen to have that Torrential Tribute or another Sanctum, something like that. Okay, so he's going to attack. That's 1,700. Yep. Nosebleed only, Kaiser only needs one more attack to win this duel. He activates MST on Necro Valley. Oop, Royal Tomb, never mind. Damn, dude, now it kind of feels like playing against Infernity. Just like way slower. Like, so many barriers, you know what I mean? Like when barrier was at 3, oh my god. Alright, so Kaiser takes that duel. And I think that Nosebleed has to stay focused. He has to stay focused on those Necro Valleys. You can't be MSTing your own artifact Meritech. It's just risky to me, you know what I mean? Because if it gets warninged or if it gets hit with a Fiendish Chain, then you lose out on the effect, and your opponent only has 3 copies of Necro Valley. Like, you see that it locked down his Dichotomy that time. He couldn't use it the entire game. You know what I mean? So I feel like that should be his #1 goal. If he can get Tiras on board, he can cause some fucking havoc with that card. As long as he can avoid Dimensional Prison, he can really do some damage with that card because he can just attack, pop, blow up copies of Necro Valley. We're going into game 3. And Nosebleed is starting off things. He's going 1, 2. 2 cards in the back row. And it's Kaiser's turn, so please draw your card, Kaiser. I guess Necro Valley, you know what, another thing, or Gravekeepers, another thing about them that Girgia have all over them is they leave themselves completely susceptible to things like Meritech, you know? Like, you always have to have Necro Valley out, you know what I mean? To even use the Royal Tombs, like, you have to have Necro Valley out, so Girgia don't have to leave any monsters face up, you know what I mean? Like, they can just be good having armor set and knowing that, okay, you want to go overextend, that's cool, I'll activate Needle Sealing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody be like, I'm going to activate Soul Charge, and then their opponent's like, alright, that's cool, like, no sweat off my, no sweat off my balls or whatever, and then he's like, alright, Needle Sealing, lose all your entire field, lose like 3,000 life points, 4,000 life points maybe. Alright, so Kaiser finally drew his card, and there's that Necro Valley. He sets 1. I would not suggest leaving a bunch of cards in hand because of Royal Tribute. Nobleman to cross out again. Damn. And once again, Kaiser loses all his spies early in the game. So this is another win he'll have to get with no spies, which is the best card in the deck because it's your instant XC maker. Especially if you have Royal Tomb, you can do so much damage with that motherfucker. Okay, so Star Drawing comes down. Best monster in the deck. Damn. D-Prison on a Star Drawing. Seriously. Kaiser's like, man, I'm not taking no risk. We see an End-Phase MST on an Acid Trap Hole, which is good because that card is fucking awful. Duality for a Royal Tomb, an Assailant, and a Banisher. Probably take that Royal Tomb. If I had another Gravekeeper monster anyway. But it's like, you can't just have Royal Tomb by itself. Like, you have to have some other monsters. Now, keep in mind, he is susceptible to, traps right now. You see Fiendish Chain is used, and I guess he figured, if I don't use Fiendish Chain, he's just gonna Imperial Tomb it, so I might as well. Although, now he can still use Imperial Tomb. I just thought about that. I would say advantage Kaiser right now. Yeah, I would say advantage Kaiser in the duel. Not only because of Necro Valley, but because he has Royal Tomb. Royal Tomb is a counter trap that pretty much has to be accounted for. Alright, Bottomless is attempted to be activated. And you see that Royal Tomb is chained. Those cards should both go to banish. It's not attack position, right? I think it's just one face up. See a Dark Hole. And he'll still actually be able to use Recruiter because he can choose, I guess, whatever. Whichever way they go to the graveyard. Now you're going to see a Mystical Space Typhoon used on Necro Valley. Although Nosebleed only has 3 cards. And he really hasn't shown us many monsters. So he's going to activate Golden Bird. That gets hit with Fiendish Chain. At least it's in attack mode this time. And he just passed his turn. Another Necro Valley comes down. Holy crap. He's got Necro Valley for fucking days. And Goldenberg dies. He eats 300 from that. Nosebleed is back on the defensive, and that Necro Valley is just putting in work. Some of these awesome but situational cards like Goldenberg and Star Drawing are just not getting it done. Although this card right here has the potential to change the entire duel. Because I think Recruiter has to be in your possession or your side of the field or something. Oh, no. My bad. No, it's not. Okay, so we see a Dayanara summon. Even if he had Murmillo, it wouldn't be able to get this effect anyway. So he's going to attack with both. And I imagine he's going to go into King of the Pharaoh Imps. Because King of the Pharaoh Imps can get him another Kage. Ooh, Chaos Trap Hole. Damn. That was bad. Although at least you got a lot of damage from your opponent. So, you know, shout outs for that. Karkar-D is played. But you have to think about this. Nosebleed has left him. He's left his field open. And Recruiter is on board. That's 17. It's both sides, right? All Gravekeepers. Yep, there you go. So he's going to attack for 17. Does Nosebleed have it? Nah, dang, man. What do you have in your hand, Nosebleed? Ouch, this is bad. So Recruiter dies. Oh, yeah, it is U-Control. Why did I miss that? I thought that was it. I thought it was U-Control. And Photon Thrasher. Okay, he must have wanted to summon that last turn, but he couldn't. And it looks like he's just content with a crash. Although Kaiser's like, I'm not content with that. I'm going to deprison you. And play goes back to Nosebleed. Or excuse me, play goes back to Kaiser, who's going to attack. I wonder if we might see a deprison or another rivalry. Okay, never mind. Memory of an Adversary. Why did I say rivalry? Memory of an Adversary. Alright, it's pretty much gut check time. You can keep setting all of those cards, but Kaiser only needs one attack. This is game. No point of bluffing. And Nosebleed says he has to go. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Just own up to the loss. Seriously? Thank you guys for watching as always.